This is a good time for axe sharpening. And if you aren't proficient in marketing using social media, this is a good time to figure it out. A new book comes out about social media every day. I swear. I just bought one about Twitter the other day. There's Facebook Marketing, I think is the title one. There are a zillion of these books. Some of them are really good, and I'll recommend a couple that I like, but figure it out. If you don't understand how to use social media to promote your business, figure it out. And it's a moving target. It changes all the time, so you've got to stay on top of it. Listen to your customers. I think a recession is a great time to tap into what's important to your customers. You're there for them. What do they want? What are their needs? What can you do to help? I heard on the radio that Doritos for the next 3 months is going to put 20% more chips in every package without raising the price, just as a response to the recession and trying to do their part to help out. It certainly shows that they understand that people are hurting nowadays, and there are things we need to do to help. A caveat, I will tell you, I'm not going to talk a lot about traditional advertising, but I make my living pretty much off of traditional advertising. I would say my company, probably 50 to 60% of what we do is traditional advertising, producing TV commercials, billboards, print ads, we build websites. But to be honest, that interests me less and less as we go along, and it's becoming a smaller part of our business. Already 20 to 30% of our business is doing social media work for clients, and I think in 3 years that will be the majority of what we do, without a doubt, unless something new comes along that surprises me. But I'm confident social media is the way to go. But my caveat is, traditional media is still really important. So for those of you who are into traditional media, I'm not telling you it's dying. Television, in fact, is still the best branding medium I know. If you have the money to do it right, without a doubt, television is it. So don't take the fact that I'm not spending 20 minutes talking about television today or radio advertising, which I used to work in radio. I started my career there. But today I really want to focus on being very affordable, very cost conscious. And my philosophy behind all media is if you cannot do it right, don't do it. Because you're just throwing your money out the window, and too many people do it that way in business. We're doing an ad campaign right now for College of Charleston, and we aren't trying to do everything. We're doing a little bit and doing it very well. And I think that, given our budget, that was the decision we had to make. And I think that's the decision we should all make. I'll tell you, if you have the money to keep advertising during a recession, by all means do it, because you will come out stronger and ahead of your competition. This is an opportunity to get ahead of your competition. Whether you do it by taking incredibly good care of your customers, or by communicating really effectively with them, or promoting your business, whatever method you use, it is an opportunity. It doesn't have to be the end of the world. And we are going to come out of this recession. I think I see signs of us moving in that direction. I used to say fourth quarter will be coming out of it. It's probably first quarter 2010 from what I hear now. But we will come out of it. And historically, and there have been lots of recessions, and there's lots of data on companies that advertise through a recession and those who retrench. Those who advertise do better coming out of the recession. Now, the problem with that research, and they'll never tell you this, is the businesses that keep advertising during a recession are the ones that have the funds to keep advertising during a recession. So it's kind of a catch-22. They're probably financially positioned to do better coming out. But if you've got it, keep spending on advertising, because it is the engine often that drives the business. I remember I heard a story years and years ago. It was back when I worked in radio. It was probably 20 years ago. And this was a story about Mr. Wrigley of Wrigley Gum. And he was on an airplane sitting next to this little old lady. And she turned to him and she said, "Mr. Wrigley, you run what has to be one of the more successful companies in America. And everybody knows Wrigley Spearmint Gum. Why do you keep advertising? Couldn't you use that money, for better purposes?" And he thought about it for a second. He turned to the little old lady and said, "Ma'am, we're flying right now at about 30,000 feet. She said, "Yeah." And he said, "Would you be comfortable with me going to the pilot and asking him to turn off the engine?" That's advertising. So I'm a proponent of advertising, although I'm infatuated with new media right now. So my philosophy is, this is good times and bad, don't buy it unless you're going to do it right, and everybody makes this mistake. I'll go into a new client or a prospective client, look at their media spending, and they're doing all this stuff in the yellow pages, because yellow page salesmen, they're always like, you gotta have the biggest ad, you have to be as big as your competitor, which is not true. You just should be there. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And now that there are so many different yellow pages, my gosh, I'm not even confident you need to be there. I go online to look everything up nowadays. But the world is full of businesses that fragment their media budgets. They're doing all these little tiny print ads, they're doing all these little sponsorships, they're trying to do a little bit of radio because they want to be there, they're doing maybe a little bit of cable TV, and it's a little bit of everything, which adds up to nothing. So when you're thinking about media buying, think about impact. I want to do this one thing and do it really well, and then I can move on to a second thing. And sometimes two things complement each other. Like, for instance, you could do billboards, and I hope you have a website. We'll talk about that in a minute. But hopefully billboards work really well with a website. You're sending people through, putting your URL up there. You're sending people directly to your website. So there's that synergy. Radio and outdoor work really well together. I have a slide in here. I call it poor man's television. They really do balance each other because people are hearing your ad in the car. They're seeing it up on the billboard. My problem with radio is you have to be really smart in how you buy it, just like you do with television, because it can be really fragmented. So you have to know who your target audience and you can't listen to all this anecdotal feedback. Even better, what happens is they often will put the business person on the spot, so they're on the air so they get feedback, but that doesn't mean they're getting any business. So be smart, buy one medium at a time, buy it really well. I know people preach media mix, but I'm sorry, media mix only works when you have lots of money to throw at media. Buy one and be recognized. If you're going to buy radio and there's one killer radio station that reaches your target audience, heck, it might be NPR. You might advertise on the local NPR affiliate. Put your money there. Hammer it home. I believe hit them over the head. You want to be heard. That's why you're there. So I call all these little things budget busters. And you should see people. Law firms, I don't care what kind of company it is you're talking to. They're just throwing the money out the window. So less is more. And then ask yourself, is traditional media even where I need to be? Do I have the money to do it? Some people feel like they just have to be there. It's not true. You don't have to be there. You can be other places, especially today. When you are buying media, I will tell you, negotiate. I'm shocked at the number of people who buy media and don't negotiate. I'm shocked at people who buy furniture and don't negotiate. When you go buy furniture, you can negotiate. That stuff is marked up like 200%. You can negotiate. I'm talking about furniture. With media, definitely negotiate. Ask them for a proposal. And then ask somebody else for a proposal. Compare the proposals. Look at the reach and frequency and all the data to make a determination about what's best for you. But definitely negotiate. When we're buying media, we're getting all kinds of value added, and we've got a little leverage because we buy a lot of media. If it's a newspaper you're negotiating with, try to get free banner ads on their website as part of the package. That's starting to become actually the most valuable part of the newspaper relationship right now for advertising. So they're getting less and less apt to give that away. They need to sell that. But work on that. What can they ask for value added? Say, what kind of value added can you bring to the table? Use those words. And television, I'll tell you, most television websites get a ton of traffic. It's a great place to have banner advertising. So talk about that. How can they put a package together that brings those things together? And track your click-throughs. If you are negotiating banner advertising or any kind of online advertising, ask them before you pay for anything. Ask them if they can track it, because you'll be amazed at the people who don't have the technology to track their click-throughs. And they need to be able to tell you how many people click through from your banner to your website, because then you know if it was valuable or not.